ready to hear about our Heavenly Father's plan for you?
Greetings and salutations, guys. Eric here with my review of Heretic. This is a new horror movie from A24. In a year that has seen a lot of really strong horror releases, I'm very happy that this continues that. Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East play two young Mormon missionaries in their small town who are going door to door looking to recruit people to their flock. And one day they knock on the door of Mr. Reed, played by Hugh Grant, who is just as charming and fun as you think Hugh Grant will be in most movies. And so when he invites them in, saying his wife is in the other room making a pie, they come in to sit down with him and talk religion. Everything seems to be going great until it isn't, because he has some pretty nefarious purposes in mind. He is a student of theology and has a demented test that he wants to put these two girls through. And what follows definitely feels like almost a kind of twist on Saw, as we have this older, highly intelligent guy who is going to put these people through the gauntlet here, that he has this moralistic view of life and that he wants to test people in a certain way. So it does feel kind of like a tangent on a Saw type concept here, but it really does have its own feeling, its own vibe as far as what exactly is occurring here and the motivations of this character and how these two girls respond to what is happening to them. Just from the trailers, Hugh Grant has been getting a lot of attention for Heretic, and that makes total sense because this is a attention-getting role for him. In recent years, he's definitely leaned into playing villains more, but mostly comedically when you look at things like Paddington 2 and Dungeons and Dragons, which he is great in, but here he gets to actually play someone very dangerous, demented, and scary, and it's really cool to see Hugh Grant take all that charm that's always had this sort of underlying clever, sarcastic side to it and bend it and just, show this guy how on a turn that you can see, oh, this is someone who is definitely dangerous and unsettling, and you do not want to be locked in a house with. Because, yeah, he has trapped these two girls in here. They are trying to find a way out. He has kind of thought ahead. He certainly seems to have been plotting for a while what he's going to do. And I think Grant is just so perfect at taking that on-screen persona that we've known for decades now and showing how you can use that in a very different way, the energy that he is exuding, while still, reminding you of everything about Hugh Grant that we've always known as a movie star for so long. And then you've got Sophie Thatcher, his sister Barnes, who of these two girls is a little bit more worldly. She is a little bit more guarded. She is a little bit more sort of taking note of their situation and maybe a little ahead of the game as far as nothing here is quite what it seems. Something's off. And, Thatcher has been so excellent on Yellow Jackets the past couple of years. She brings that sort of similar, intelligence, a darkness to the character, not like, a horrible darkness to her, but, that this is someone that has, seen some things and at least, has a little bit more perspective than her friend on the fact that this might be a scenario that might get them in trouble pretty quickly. And Thatcher continues to prove to be just a very compelling on-screen presence here that I think is just the right energy you need for a role like this. But Grant and Thatcher are given a terrific third member of this central trio of the cast, and Chloe East has Sister Paxton. She is the least known, of course, of these actors going in, but I think she will make a big impression on many, and this is definitely, I think, a star-making performance. I loved her in The Fabelmans, where she played Sammy Fabelman's girlfriend. She was really funny in that movie, had a really distinct, quirky energy that stood out. And in this movie, there was an older woman behind me halfway through the movie when I saw the screening who whispered, not so quietly, to her companion, "That girl's good." And I agreed with her, even though I wish she could have kept that to herself till after the film. Because, yeah, Chloe East is really good in this movie. She is playing, such a sort of optimistic, open-hearted character.
No, you read more than we do. No, seriously, Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed.
Naive character, too. And it's easy for that character to come off as kind of like dumb and, oh, she's going to get what she's asking for here because she is so naive about the world. But East makes her also very endearing, and you do like this girl. And so you feel protective and like you want her to get out of this situation, and as things get so scary and harrowing for her, she's able to make the turn with how this character is processing that. It's a really, really wonderful performance, and I think that the three actors here, because it's such a small cast, there's a few other people in this movie, including Topher Grace in is that Topher Grace kind of role, where I was like, I wasn't sure it was him till the closing credits, but almost, it's really just centers on the three actors for so much of the runtime. So it was really crucial that they got the right three actors, and they definitely did. A lot of this feels like it could be a stage play, and it's one where if they'd cast the same three people, I think you would have been just as riveted by what's happening here. The movie is filled with a mixture of creepy, scary sequences mixed with religious debate and conversations. Mr. Reed wants these girls to engage with him, and they do the best they can to verbally battle him while also trying to figure out how the hell they can escape this house that he's locked them inside. And I think a strength of the movie is that all these sequences work as far as the mixture. It doesn't slow down. You're not saying, okay, get back to the scary stuff when Mr. Reed is having these religious debates with them. Because first of all, that's scary too, because what is he going to do if they say what he decides is the wrong thing? Is always an underlying tension. But also it's just an interesting conversation to have in this movie between these characters, because he is kind of calling them out on their faith and how much do they really believe and how much should they believe, and he wants to kind of dive deep into it all. And there was some interesting facts in this movie that I didn't even know about, both about religion but also board games. I don't want to say too much, but the way that his examples are very fun and interesting and clever. But also you see how these girls are doing their best to always match him, to always, they know that they have to kind of put up a strong front, because he does not want them to just settle back and not try to argue with him. That's kind of what he's seeking, and it's up to them to kind of figure out what is the best way to navigate that. The writing directing duo of Scott Beck and Brian Woods behind Heretic are best known for A Quiet Place, which they wrote, but as directors they're coming off of the movie 65, which was a very poorly received movie, but this is a hell of a rebound, clearly going much smaller scale, but showing that you can just make something incredibly compelling, engaging with three people inside a house if you have the right story, the right actors, and the tension that they do provide as directors here. It also looks great, the movie. It's a very darkly lit film, but not in a I can't see what the hell is going on way. As they have to go further, he's telling them they have to go out the back of the house, which isn't a simple thing, of course, and involves going down into some scary and creepy places. And this all just really worked as far as creating this specific horror movie scenario. A lot of people had noted that the trailer to Heretic includes The Air That I Breathe by the Hollies as a backing track, and that was used in the trailers for Saw X just last year. Look, it is a great song for a horror movie trailer. It's just one of those songs that works well with creating a mood. But I will say, that song, unlike in Saw X, is very crucial to the story in Heretic. It actually comes up again. It is talked about in Heretic. It is part of the conversations. And again, I'll leave you to find out how that occurs in the movie. But it is one of the ways in which this movie has this sort of disarming wit and cleverness to it. It is a funny movie at some points without, becoming like campy or silly, because of the examples being used by Mr. Reed and even the pop culture in general. This is not a movie that's, throwing out pop culture references left and right, but these people do exist in our modern world. And I like that about the movie. Like, for instance, the Book of Mormon, has in the Broadway musical, is mentioned, because if you're going to do a movie about two young Mormons in modern times, that's going to be something that they've had to deal with as sort of what people think of and as far as Mormons go. So that's mentioned, but there are some other references that I did not see coming. There is one certain blockbuster movie, and the way it's referenced, the context in which it's referenced, that's what makes it so good. It's not just characters, sitting naming movies. It comes up in a organic way, just not one that you would see coming. And I really liked that about the script for this movie, and how these characters are sort of bouncing off each other in a terrible situation none of us would want to find ourselves in, but one that is supposed to be happening in our world. The conclusion of the movie is definitely interesting as far as where it all leads, what exactly happens, the questions that it raises in a movie that's all about raising questions and all about pushing back against certain things. There's a couple things I thought could have been done a little different or maybe didn't have quite the impact they're going for. It certainly leaves you with questions on purpose, but maybe there's a couple questions they could have answered a little bit more about certain parts of the situation going on. I know I'm being super vague here because I don't want to spoil anything, but just to say, yeah, I didn't think the ending was a complete home run, but there was still a lot about it that I really liked on the heels of a movie that I thought was great, that I think just, yeah, it is very effective, works really well, and is such a, yeah, just a great spotlight on three actors, three characters, and what's happening here in this horror movie scenario. It's, another thing I love about horror movies, that yeah, you can do this study, this sort of reflection of religion and how people interpret it, and certainly going into a very dark side of it, but also have characters like Sister Paxton who are going in with very open eyes about it. And this movie is going to sort of challenge all of that, but in a way I think that is thoughtful, while also maintaining this sort of funhouse vibe to the whole thing too, because what he's created is this insane thing inside his house that could be a great Horror Nights maze maybe one day if they wanted to do so. So yeah, I really enjoyed Heretic. I'm so glad that we keep getting so many good horror movies in 2024. Keep it coming, that's what I say. More horror the better, and more good horror even better than that. So those are my thoughts on Heretic, which is opening in a couple weeks from A24. Thanks guys. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be great. And that's it for now. Be back next time. Take care. Bye.